guys, welcome to this episode of the Haunted Cafe podcast. It's episode 7.
Ooh, 7.
And today we're going to be talking about something not so spooky, a few things not so spooky. Yeah, if you hear our cat, she's just very talkative right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go see if I can't handle that real quick.
Yep. But right now we're going to be talking about the origins of some of the Christmas traditions that we do. So there's going to be 13 different ones. I was going to do 12, but 13 is such a great number, I was going to do the 12 days of Christmas, but I was like, it's got to be 13.
I think it could be 13.
So, we don't really do a whole lot of the decorating and stuff. We try to, but we don't always have the time or, all that, so. We do our best.
It's mostly money because everything's really expensive now, and the Dollar Tree only has so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like most of the stuff that we got for decoration wise, we got literally at like thrift stores and stuff like that when I was working at the thrift store. So.
Yep. Well, hey, it's whatever.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the Christmas tree itself.
Okay.
Because
the whole entire, besides Santa, reason for Christmas.
Oh yeah,
it's
I was
not
like,
the
what?
reason for Christmas, but the symbol of Christmas.
Yeah, definitely. So the use of the evergreen tree, wreaths, and garland is a symbol of eternal life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the evergreen tree.
Which is weird because whenever you put an evergreen tree in your house, it dies within a week.
Well, that's because you don't keep the roots or anything.
Well, yeah, I know, but it can't mean eternal life if it just dies.
Well, if you kept the roots, it would.
I guess, but I don't think anyone's going to build their house around a pine tree just to keep the roots there for Christmas.
Well, we'll get to that actually.
Oh, all right. I do this all the time.
All right, but yeah, so it was it's a symbol for eternal life. Oh, it's us talking. It creeped me out.
Yeah, I was like, what is that noise? There we go.
Alan had the Twitch stream going on his phone, and it made it, like, we could hear it talking, so it creeped us out. And it was common, and the eternal life symbol was common among the Egyptians, Chinese, and Hebrews. The Christian symbol can be traced back to a German medieval play about Adam and Eve, which had what was called a paradise tree. So it was basically where they hung, like, apples from an evergreen tree, because obviously, the story of Adam and Eve, where they picked the forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they were trying to, recreate that play, and they called it, the paradise tree, and they decorated the tree with apples. Okay. Tree decorating was common among pagans, and of course was adapted by Christianity.
Of course.
Scandinavian customs were to decorate their house and barn with evergreens, and at the new year to scare away the devil. Which I don't know why the devil was coming in at the new year, but
I don't know.
Eventually, even Germany took up the custom, placing a tree at the entrance or inside the house during midwinter holidays. In Germany, it's actually talked about a lot during this. They actually, to me, it seems like they started a lot of, the Christmas customs. Yep.
That's interesting.
And, I actually forgot, we don't have any tea or any coffee or anything like that today.
Yeah, we don't have any tea or any coffee this time.
Yeah, just thought I'd jump that in real quick. The most modern Christmas tree, though, the most similar to what we do today, is one, comes from the play I just talked about.
Yeah. Before you continue, I have to address this thing that she always does that really bothers me. It's writing on both sides of the paper. It's just annoying to look at.
Well, that's cool, but I'm trying to save the trees.
Yeah, well, you're not saving the trees if you're writing on it.
Well, I'm saving some trees.
You're saving space for later projects. That's what you're doing. Selfish.
Anyway, the Germans would set up these paradise trees on December 24th, which was the feast day of Adam and Eve. They would put wafers on it to symbolize the Last Supper. Later, cookies of all fun shapes and sizes would replace the wafers. Candles would be placed on the tree as well, as this was a symbol of Christ as the light of the world.
Yeah, the light of the world just burned your house down.
That's actually one of the next things, but neither one of us are really religious, so we're not going to talk, I'm not going to get crazy into the details of, Jesus and stuff like that, but it's just mostly, where the origins come from.
Yeah.
The tree was introduced to England in the 19th century by German-born Prince Albert, husband of Queen Victoria. The Victorians decorated the trees with small toys and gifts, candles, and candied popcorn strings, and fancy cakes hung by paper or ribbon. And from there, Christmas trees spread all around the world. I thought it was really cool that they like adapted it and added like toys and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yep.
Maybe that's what because the '90s ornaments that I have, they're in the shape of toys.
Yeah.
They're in the shape
like
of
the
dolls,
drum
horses, dollhouses, and stuff like that.
That's probably where it came from.
Okay then.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
The more you know.
And then like I know there were like just scrolling through TikTok and stuff, I saw a lot of people putting like candy on their trees, and I never thought to do that, like candy canes and stuff. And that's also probably where that comes from too, and I just never realized it.
Well, I mean, I've always put candy canes on my trees, but
yeah, I never did that I remember.
Okay.
So the next tradition is Christmas lights, which ties into the candles. So as I was talking about about the Christmas tree, people would place candles like literally everywhere. They would put them in the windowsills, use them as lights around their houses, and of course, in the Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Now I don't know about about you, but from my standpoint, I thought that's not really that safe.
No.
You know, I don't know if anybody else is like, it's fine. But and trust me, it wasn't. Candles were a huge fire hazard at all times, but sticking them into a dead tree with paper and who knows what else, it's safe to say, sadly, that fires occurred. People tried to be cautious. First, they would keep the candles lit for a short amount of time, often for maybe like a half hour or so. And they also kept a huge bucket of water right next to the tree.
Yeah.
But that really didn't help. In fact, most, if not all, insurance companies decided to stop paying out for fires caused by Christmas trees because it was a known risk.
They're looking at them like, hey, yo, you're stupid. Stop putting fire on your trees. It's wood.
It's wood.
You put that in your fireplace. There's a reason.
Yep. And I'm just like, I mean, I know that they want to decorate it. I understand that. But I don't know.
Why? It still doesn't make any sense.
Because, if you look at trees, no matter where you put this candle, there's always branches on top of it. So there's always, and it's always going to get hot.
And, well, not only that, you also got to worry about the wax on the floor and stuff like that. Depending on how you set this up, if the candle's not encased into a jar, wax is going to get everywhere, no matter what.
Plus you can't watch the candle constantly. So even if you did only light it for short periods of time, for a half hour here or a half hour there, it's still going to be really, it's still a risk because you can't sit there the whole time.
It's a very high risk.
Yep.
Unless you're directly staring at the tree all night.
That's what I was saying.
It ain't gonna work.
You're not gonna and no one's gonna do that.
No.
So what were people going to put on their trees now? Well, for the longest time they still kept doing the candles, but in 1880, Thomas Edison had already invented the light bulb, and he was looking for some type of way to advertise it. And I put as a side note, I'm not sure how much this is true, but it's actually a known fact that what I'm gonna tell you happened. So it's pretty true. So he hung up a string of the lights outside of his lab to show them off to people who passed by. So as as advertisement.
Yeah.
A few years later, one of his employees named Edward Hibbard Johnson came up with the idea that the string lights outside of the shop could be a solution to the Christmas tree fires. He took 80 red, white, and blue Christmas lights and put them around a Christmas tree. He even called the local newspapers to cover the story. I guess he knew that it was going to be a big thing.
Which is weird because if that's the origins of the Christmas lights is the you said red, white, and blue, where that's one color I cannot stand seeing in Christmas lights is blue.
The blue, yeah.
It doesn't make it. Blue and magenta make no sense to me to have as a Christmas light. It's red, gold, and green. Yeah. Those are the Christmas colors. The Christmas tree. You got the presents, which are red. You got the gold, which is the ribbon. It all encompasses. There's no blue or magenta. Like, get rid of it.
We talk about that like all the time.
Yeah, every time I see a house, every time I pass a house, and I apologize to the people I'm offending by saying that your blue and magenta lights are shit, but stop, they're garbage. Don't put them up.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I prefer, I mean, I don't care if anybody else does it. I just prefer the red, green, and gold, like you were saying. I just feel like that's like the traditional Christmas colors.
Yeah.
But,
like when I was younger, in the 90s, when they had those big light bulbs that like the red, the green, and the white, which made it look gold when you turned them on, it looked really, really nice in the tree because they were all complementing colors. You add blue and magenta, and you're screwing up the entire economic. Like, it's just how I was raised. I don't like blue and magenta lights. Like, I just don't.
Yeah. And of course, the idea took off about the string lights, and even the president started using the lights, and obviously millions of people still use them to this day.
To this day.
And now they put the pink and blue in that Ellen doesn't like.
Just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. It doesn't look like Christmas. Like even candy canes. Like candy canes are understandable, but the traditional peppermint candy cane is red and white.
The candy canes, people changed those because it's like...
Yeah, it's like, different like flavors and stuff
like that.
Yeah,
like the pickle and the, you know.
But still, like red, like peppermint, red and white. Spearmint, green and white. Yeah. There's no blue and white that is, I mean, yeah, you got winter, fresh, that's a gum. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, so that's how the Christmas lights came around, which I thought was really interesting that, I mean, they had to basically, they came up with a solution to stop Christmas fires instead of just like, So number 3 is the legend of the Christmas pickle, which is one that I tell you, pickle. I talk about to you all the time because like, this is one that I know well. I've
never heard of it until she brought it up to me.
We don't like follow the tradition, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I have no idea what the heck a Christmas pickle is. Sounds like something the Christmas elf made up to get with women. You want to check out my Christmas pickle?
Wow. So, like I said, I don't know how well known this legend is, or if any people know what the Christmas pickle is. But what
Peter picked a ripe pickle. I don't even know how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know. So the Christmas pickle is a green pickle-shaped ornament that on Christmas Eve, parents or someone would hide the ornament in the Christmas tree, and the next morning, like deep within the branches so that it couldn't be found. Of course, with the fact that most trees are green and the ornament is also green, should make it really hard to find. Now maybe like with it shining, it might like give it away a little bit, but on Christmas morning, the first person to find the pickle was rewarded. For some people, too many P's and it's really messed me up. For some people, that the person that got the present, or I can't talk.
Jeez.
The first person to get that pickle was able to either A, open their presents first.
Jesus, there is a lot of P's.
Yeah, there is. Sometimes they are giving a special treat, like some kind of candy or cake or whatever, or it is believed that good luck will come to the pickle finder in the following year.
Wow.
People pickle presents.
Yeah, people pickle presents hidden in a purple tree. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be easy to find. But
yeah, I mean, you never know.
Maybe.
I don't know how colorblindness works, but it might be difficult that way.
Oh yeah, that's true. So there are different theories about where this tradition actually came from. Theory 1 is that it originated in Germany. In fact, I believe that's the most common story that's printed on a little card that you get when you do buy the pickle. But in a 2008 USA Today article about the tradition, a survey actually found that 91% of Germans had never heard of this pickle, nor did they even have one in their home. So I don't know how true it is about like Germans being the one to create this, because
that's funny. Unless
it was like a long lost like tradition, like it started there, came over here for a little bit, and then came back,
Yeah.
But theory 2 is about a captured U.S. Union Army soldier who was starving in a prison camp. On Christmas Eve, he was so hungry that he begged the guard for just a pickle. He was given it, and it saved his life. No dying from hunger or anything like that.
Yeah.
Once the soldier returned home, he hung a pickle on his tree. And to me, like, I don't know if I would want to celebrate the fact that I almost died in a prison camp, so I'm gonna put a pickle. Like, I don't know if I'd want to remember that.
Yeah, or maybe it was like some sort of like, since the pickle saved his life, he was like, this is the day that I didn't die. Like,
since it's like the Christmas Eve again.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, wouldn't you want to move on from that?
Yeah. I mean, no matter what, the memory's still going to be there. Unless you completely forget what happened, you're never actually going to move on.
Yeah, so I guess it's better to just, like...
It's better to accept that it happened and try and move away from it.
Yeah, okay. And I even said, I don't know why this guy would want to remember this, but you brought a good point. Like, the fact that maybe he would just want to, like...
As a remembrance of the day that he possibly could have died, but he didn't because he got a pickle. So it's like, man, this pickle...
He got a second chance.
Yeah, he got a second chance through this pickle.
So another tale that could possibly be the origin story is about two boys that somehow got trapped in a pickle barrel and were found by Saint Nicholas himself. He saved them and were able to like let them go home for Christmas. It's just a weird little story.
That's odd.
Yeah. Honestly, out of all of them, I would believe the U.S. Union Army soldier one.
Yeah.
But, once again, it's not 100% that any of these traditions actually happened. There's also one more reason, and probably the most probable reason, even though you want that, like, heartfelt story. So in the 1880s, German glass ornaments became very popular in America, and it seems a lot of the ornaments were in shapes of fruits and vegetables.
That's weird.
Yeah, maybe there were just a lot of pickle ornaments left over, and a clever salesman came up with a story to make a profit.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand not wanting to put a pickle on a tree because it's kind of phallic. So,
yeah.
I'm not going to put this pickle on my tree. What the hell?
Yeah, back then everybody was a little like,
I don't know.
Prim and proper.
Yeah.
But basically, I think that's the most like probable thing that they somehow had all these like pickles left over, and because we already know in like the 1940s or whatever, there were so many like con artists like just trying to make a buck. He's like, hey, did you ever hear about this Christmas pickle?
Yeah, I mean, people do that now. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so that's the legend and possible theories of where the Christmas pickle came from. So number 4 we're going to talk about is the Christmas stockings, which, we got all of ours up on the tree, or up on the wall.
For some reason, when you had just said that, I had gotten a memory of some kind that had to do with an orphanage who didn't have something to have Santa put something in, so he hung a sock over a fireplace hoping that he would put something in it. I feel like... okay. I don't know why that popped into my head.
I don't know.
I mean, it might have been a Christmas movie. It might have been a movie I watched. I don't remember.
Nope.
All right.
Yeah. So the Christmas stocking, in case some of the listeners don't know, because either you don't celebrate Christmas or just not a tradition where you are. It's an empty sock, or most of the time it's a sock-shaped bag, which is basically what a lot of people use now.
Yeah.
That is hung by the fireplace or on the fireplace, so that Saint Nicholas or Santa Claus can come and fill it with small gifts.
Ain't Saint Nicholas and Santa Claus the same thing?
Yes and no. So Saint Nicholas was actually a real person, from what I came to understand.
Santa Claus, I guess, was the...
And some kind of like make-believe.
All right.
But yeah. In some Christmas tales, the stocking gifts are the only ones that children receive from Santa, which is like, dang. But,
Yeah.
For little kids anyway. Yeah. So the origin of the Christmas stocking, sorry, my text is weird. So the origin of the Christmas stocking was actually technically the origin of St. Nicholas himself, too. While there aren't any written accounts, there are some legends that are like popular stories that people tell about it. Number 1 is that St. Nicholas was staying with a poor family and heard that the father was planning on selling his 3 daughters into prostitution.
Jeez.
Because they couldn't afford stuff. To save them from starving, St. Nicholas wanted to help, but knew that the old man wouldn't accept charity. So when he left the house one night, St. Nick threw 3 bags of gold through an open window, and one landed in a stocking. Of course, when everyone woke up the next morning, They were overjoyed, saved from starvation and possible sex work. Other versions say that all three of the bags landed in the stockings, but I guess that depends on Saint Nick's aim.
Yeah, he was the creator of basketball, man. He created the 3-pointer.
Threw it out the window.
He created the Shack Attack.
But yeah, I don't know why he would throw them into the stocking, not just like onto the floor. But I mean, maybe it just happened to land there.
Yeah, it was by magic. It just happened to land.
Yeah. Another idea I think maybe more plausible is that Christmas stockings derive from the German Scandinavian figure Odin.
Odin.
The legend goes that children would place their boots filled with carrots, straw, and sugar near the chimney for Odin's flying horse, Sleipnir? I should have looked it up, but it's Sleipnir. Sleipnir.
What is it? Sleipnir. Sleipnir. Looks like it's Slipnir or Slipknot.
Odin would reward these children for their kindness by replacing all the horse's food with gifts or candy. To me, that sounds a lot more.
Like replacing all the horse's food?
Yeah, because they would leave carrots, straw, and sugar for the horse. So then he would take that out of the boot and give them candy.
I thought it was like replacing the horse's food
and then
with
giving
candy.
It to
Yeah, like you're killing the horse.
No, just like swapping it out.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Oh, wow. Odin, yeah, so it is believed that this practice survived in Germany, Belgium, and even the Netherlands after Christianity took over. The reason why this is claimed false, as there are no records of people doing this before St. Nicholas. But I still think it's plausible, because I didn't look this up, I should have, but I remember like people talking about like the wooden clogs too, and they like the shoes, and then they would fill that up with candy or like stuff to be replaced. So unless that's the same thing. Yeah. So the first I'm gonna re-say it. So the first story goes like this. There was once a poor but hard-working widow who lived in a small hut with her 3 children. One summer day, a pine cone fell on the earthen floor of the hut and took root. Remember how you were saying nobody plants a tree?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
The children cared for it, excited at the idea of having a nice Christmas tree by winter. Wow. The tree grew, but when Christmas Eve arrived, they could not afford to decorate it. The children sadly went to bed and fell asleep. The next morning, Christmas Day, they woke up and saw the tree covered in cobwebs. When they opened the windows, the first rays of sunlight touched the webs and turned them into brilliant gold and silver. The widow and her children were overjoyed. From then on, they never lived in poverty again. So, I really like that story.
That's
pretty
a unique
cool,
story. A spider helped save everything.
Other versions replace the sun with a miracle from Father Christmas, so St. Nicholas, Santa, or Jesus himself. And the story, and then there's also another story that tells the perspective of the spiders who wanted to see the tree. And, so I printed out that little tale. This is the sadder one, at least in my opinion. The tale goes, once upon a time, a gentle mother was busily cleaning the house for the most wonderful day of the year. Not a speck of dust was left. Even the spiders had left their cozy corner in the ceiling and had fled to the farthest corner of the attic to avoid the housewife's busy cleaning. At last it was Christmas Eve. The tree was decorated and waiting for the children to see it, but the poor spiders were frantic, for they could not see the tree, nor the presents that waited for dawn. But the oldest and wisest spider suggested that perhaps they could peep through the crack in the door to see this glorious sight. Silently they crept out of the attic, down the stairs, and across the floor, to wait in the crack in the threshold. Suddenly the door opened a wee bit, and quickly the spiders scurried into the room. The tree was breathtaking, and certainly more than their eyes were accustomed to seeing. So they crept all over the tree, up and down, over every branch and twig, and saw every one of the pretty things. At last they were satisfied with the Christmas tree's beauty. But alas, everywhere they went, they left their webs. Now, seeing what they had done, they became very, very afraid that they would be killed. So they prayed for mercy. Suddenly an angel came and said, "I'll save you, but I will need some help. One of you must stay to save the rest." So it was agreed that who would stay, and the angel touched the spider, turning its to ice, and the webs became shimmering silver and gold.
Oh wow!
So basically, one of the spiders
had to die.
Yeah.
The heck?
Since that time, we have hung tinsel on our Christmas tree to remind us of the sacrifice of one to save many, and according to the legend, it has become a custom to include a spider among the decorations on the tree.
Wow.
So that one's definitely a way more intense, story.
Yeah, it is.
And way more, honestly, I like both stories. I think they're both, really great, legends.
Yeah, it's just, how come every time there is a great story created that has to do with creating beauty, somebody has to kill it?
Somebody has to die?
Yes, every single time. There could be a story about a little red panda that saved his brother, but in the end, a hunter shot his brother.
Or shot him.
Just leave it. Stop trying to kill things. There's no reason.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So the actual origins of this legend are unknown. It is believed to have come from Germany or Ukraine, and that's literally on any of the packages that you receive if you buy one of these. Mm-hmm. In Germany, Poland, and Ukraine, finding a spider or spider web on a Christmas tree is considered good luck. Ukrainians also create Christmas tree ornaments in the shape of a spider with paper and wire. The tradition of using tinsel is said to also come from this story. Which, that's what it, Yeah. But it makes me want to start putting, spiders on our tree. Because I really like the little legend.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a Halloween tree at one time.
Yeah.
So we had spiders on there.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we had spiders, eyeballs, pumpkins, all that.
Pumpkins. I like that tree, too.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah. That was one of our first trees.
Mm-hmm. We also had a black tree, too.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we decorated it.
Yeah, we did.
We did? Oh, okay.
We decorated it Christmassy.
Oh, I didn't. No, I'm saying we didn't decorate a Christmas tree with Halloween decorations. We decorated a black tree with Halloween decorations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. So number 6 is the mistletoe.
How many of these are there again?
There's 13.
Oh, 13. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. You made that joke. Yeah.
We're halfway through.
Yeah.
You got this?
Mm-hmm.
So first I wanted to talk about what mistletoe actually is, because I think it's kind of odd that we consider it a lovely thing, because most descriptions actually call mistletoe as parasite plant, because it grows on other plants, it kind of attaches itself to different trees.
Yeah.
So that little cactus that you have with the thing on top,
mm-hmm.
the little pink thing,
mm-hmm.
even though it's really cute and stuff, that top thing is considered a parasite too. Mistletoe grows on a large range of trees, including willow, apple, and oak trees. The actual tradition of hanging it in the house goes back to the ancient Druids, but there's really no evidence that this happened. Supposedly, the mistletoe plant is said to have mystical powers, which bring good luck to the household and ward off evil spirits. In Norse mythology, it was a sign of love and friendship. So why do we kiss under the mistletoe? The earliest recorded date of mentioning kissing was in England in 1784 musical. There were also illustrations of people kissing under the mistletoe in the version of A Christmas Carol, which was published in 1843. The original custom was a berry had to be picked from the leaves before the person was kissed. When all the berries were gone, there would be no more kissing. Another website I read said that the tradition of kissing under the mistletoe started in ancient Greece during festivals similar to Roman Saturnalia. The Greeks called the holiday Chronia.
Chronia. It's either Chronia or Chronia.
Chronia. In case you didn't know, Saturnalia is an ancient Roman pagan festival honoring the agricultural god Saturn. People still celebrate today. The Greeks also used mistletoe during marriage ceremonies because of the plant's association with fertility. During the Roman era, enemies at war would reconcile their differences under the mistletoe because it represented peace. So, honestly, mistletoe represents a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Yeah, it does.
Alright.
Interesting.
So now that we're like halfway through, we're going to take a quick ad break. We'll be right back.
Yes. How's it going, everybody? This is an ad for my new gaming channel, Ram's Head VR Gaming. I had just gotten an Oculus Quest 2 a couple days ago. And, yeah, thank you. Got it a couple days ago, and I'm actually really excited for it because VR is something I've been wanting to play for a very, very long time, and I just never had the money to actually get it until recently. So, pretty much what I'm going to be doing on there is what every other VR gamer does. I'm going to be playing VR video games. I'm going to bring out my most deepest inner personality traits, and hopefully I'm funny. If I'm not funny, then you're not funny. So, so whenever you get a chance, go ahead and over to Twitch. And or not Twitch, no, it's on YouTube. Sorry, I can't Twitch stream with Oculus yet. I haven't figured that part out. But on YouTube, check out Ram's Head VR Gaming. And Ram's Head VR Gaming, it's literally all one word. There's no spaces.
And I'll leave a link in the YouTube description for it, so check it out there.
Yeah.
All right, so number 7, what we're going to talk about is the Yule Log. So
I might have to drop a Yule Log real quick. I'm just kidding.
I was like, we just started recording.
That's what it's called when you eat way too much on Christmas, so you gotta drop a Yule Log.
That's pretty interesting. I'm shaking my head over here, guys. So I actually had no idea what a Yule Log was.
That's after you eat too much on Christmas.
Yeah, shut up, okay? I had no idea what it was until I did this research. So to start, a brief definition of Yule is a midwinter festival centered around the winter solstice, which was usually the halfway point in the season, in like the winter season. After the solstice, which is the shortest day of the year, the days would start to get longer, and it is thought that Yule was a celebration of the reappearance of the sun and the fertile land's rebirth. So now let's talk about the Yule Log itself.
Well, before you continue, there's a theory that's going along on TikTok about the Yule Log, how the Yule Log is actually children that are being sacrificed, because Christmas is considered a satanic holiday just because of the way Christians twisted it. Like, Christmas is Christ Mass, you're massacring Christ. It's weird how it is on TikTok. This dude just walks up to random people and asks them if they want to hear his theory. It's pretty funny, because people are just like, what the hell's going on? but anyway, go ahead. You can continue.
Well, the way I researched it is that burning a log in celebration of Yule started way before the medieval times. It looks as if a Yule log is a decorated piece of wood. All the photos I've seen of it are like covered in holly or something like that, and candles. The candles and lights that we associate with Christmas are meant to guide the Christ child. The Yule may have been the precedence to that, because the log was lit to entice the sun to return as part of the Yule festival in Scandinavia. And I think that the whole Christ was supposed to come back to Earth, and then that's kind of like Christianity basically took the returning of the sun and kind of returned it, made it returning of Jesus kind of thing. They basically use the same legends and stuff, but just replace stuff with God or Christ or.
Of course. Yeah,
that's how I understand it anyway.
Why wouldn't they?
Fun fact: the Yule log was almost always an actual entire tree. Families would bring the trunk of the tree inside and stick the biggest end into the fireplace. The Yule log, tree, would feed the fire throughout the 12 days of Christmas, which is Christmas Day until January 5th.
It's a big friggin' tree for 12 days straight.
Yep. Well, I'm sure that they probably add logs on the sides to just keep it, but
still, that's more than just a log. That's that's multiple forests that you're burning right now.
Well, yeah, one tree per family. But
I'm saying that's a lot.
They use more than that and just trying to stay warm in the winter.
Yeah, I guess.
So now we're going to talk about the legend of the Babushka.
Babushka.
And I
which
need
you
phone.
need the phone for, yes.
Yep. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the story of the Babushka. Once in a small Russian town, there lived a woman named Babushka. Babushka isn't like a name; it's actually a term for grandmother. But for some reason, they're saying that that's her name. Babushka had always had work to do: sweeping, polishing, and dusting and cleaning. Her house was the best kept, most tidy house in the whole village. Her garden was also beautiful, and her cooking was wonderful. One evening, she was busy dusting and cleaning, so busy that she didn't hear the villagers outside in the square talking about and looking at the new star in the sky. She had heard about the new star, but thought, all of this fuss about a star, I don't even have time to look because I am so behind on my work. I must work all night. So, Babushka missed the star as it shone brightly high overhead. She also missed the little line of twinkling lights coming down towards the village at dawn. She didn't hear the sounds of pipes and drums. Babushka missed the whispered voices of the villagers, wondering whether the lights were an army or a procession of some sort. She missed the quite sudden silence of the villagers and even the footsteps of coming up the path to her door. But the one thing she couldn't miss was the loud knocking on her front door. Now what was that, she wondered, opening the door. Babushka gaped in amazement. There were 3 kings at her door with one of their servants. My master needs a place to rest, the servant said. Yours is the best house in the village. You want to stay here? She asked. Yes, but it would only be until night falls and the star appears again, the servant replied. Babushka gulped. Come in then, she said. The kings were very pleased when they saw all the homemade bread, pies, and cakes. She dashed about serving them, asking lots of questions. Have you come a long way? A very long way, sighed Casper. Where are you going? We're following the new star. But where? The kings did not know, but they believed that it would lead to the newborn king. Why don't you come with us? Asked Balthazar. You could bring him a gift like we do. I bring gold. My colleagues bring spices and perfumes. Oh, I'm not sure that he would welcome me, said Babushka. And what could I bring as a gift? I know I could bring a toy. I have a cupboard full of toys. My baby son died when he was small, she said sadly. Balthazar stopped her as she went to tidy the kitchen up. This new king could be your king too. Come with us when the star appears tonight. I'll think about it, she said. As the king slept, Babushka tidied up as quietly as she could. What a lot of extra work there was, she thought. And this new king, what a funny idea to go off with these kings to find him. Babushka shook herself. There was no time for dreaming. All of this washing up and putting away had to be done. Anyway, she thought, how long would she be away? What would she wear? What about the gift? She sighed. There's too much to do. The house will have to be cleaned when they're gone. I couldn't just leave it. Suddenly it was night again, and the star was in the sky. Are you ready, Babushka? Asked Balthazar. I'll come tomorrow, she called. I must just tidy here first and find a gift. The kings went away sadly. She ran back to her house, keen to get on her work. Finally, she went to the small cupboard, opened the door, and gazed at all the toys. They were very dusty, and they weren't fit for a baby king. They would need to be cleaned. She cleaned all the toys until each one shined. Babushka looked through the window, and it was morning. The star had came and gone. The kings would have also found somewhere else to rest by now. She could easily catch up with them, but she felt so tired she had to sleep. The next thing she knew, she was awake and it was dark outside. She had slept all day. She quickly pulled on her cloak, packed the toys in a basket, ran down the path the kings had taken. Everywhere she asked, have you seen the kings? Oh yes, everyone told her. We saw them, they went that way. For days, Babushka followed the trail of the kings and the villages that came larger. She never stopped until she came to a city. The palace, she thought, that's where the royal baby would be born. There's no royal baby here, said the palace guard when she asked him. What about the 3 kings? She asked. Oh yes, they came here, but they didn't stay long. They were soon on their journey. But where to? Bethlehem, that was the place. I don't imagine why. It is a very poor place, replied the guard. She set off towards Bethlehem, and it was the evening when Babushka arrived. She went to the local inn and asked about the Kings. "Oh yes," said the landlord, "the Kings were here 2 days ago. They were very excited, but they didn't even stay the night." "And what about a baby?" Babushka cried. "Yes, there was also," said the landlord. "The Kings asked about a baby too." When he saw the disappointment in Babushka's eyes, he stopped. "If you'd like to see where the baby was," he said quickly, "he was across the yard there. I couldn't offer the couple anything better at the time. My inn was really full, so I had them stay in the stable." Babushka followed him across the yard. He left her to be alone in the stable. "Babushka," someone was calling from her in the doorway. He looked kindly at her and wondered if he knew where the family had gone. She knew not that the baby king was the most important thing in the world to her. "They have gone to Egypt and to safety. The kings had returned to their countries, but one of them told me about you. I am so sorry, but you were too late." It is said that Babushka is still looking for Jesus today.
Jeez.
So, like I said, it was a really long story, but there's also different takes on that, to where she's also kind of known as the Christmas witch, because she's actually known to still be carrying a broom when she's going around trying to find this kid. Obviously, it's Jesus, but and then there's also a part of the story where she just starts handing out gifts to everybody, holding this broomstick too. So it's kind of funny. But
I have a few questions.
I have questions.
Why in the world was this woman so obsessed with cleaning for literally almost 3 days straight when she didn't even have anybody show up within those 3 days to need to be cleaning that much? I'm confused. Why are you cleaning? Did you have an OCD issue? Were you depressed because your son passed away and that's why you consistently clean? Is that why you haven't touched the toys and that's why they were dusty? Why need to clean the toys? Because why literally spend all night cleaning every single one of the toys when you're only grabbing a couple of them to give to the kid? I'm confused. Why clean that much?
You didn't even understand the actual point of the story.
I mean, I got it, but that part... It confused me the most.
I don't know. Maybe it is because she decided that she was too depressed to not do anything else. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's not part of the story.
Yeah, I know, but it bothered me that the fact that she literally missed this opportunity because she was so obsessed with cleaning. Yeah. You missed this because you're so obsessed with cleaning, and now you're sad about it when it was your fault to begin with because you just can't stop cleaning.
So anyway.
Sorry.
Even though that this tale is very popular as a Russian tale, once again, most Russians hadn't heard of this story at all.
Where did this come from? Why?
It is believed that it might have been created by an American poet and writer named Edith Matilda Thomas in 1907. So it's kind of just it's just a story. We may never know where this original story truly came from.
My chest hurts.
Calm down.
Sorry.
You focus way too hard on shit that didn't matter.
Sorry. I mean, it did matter because that's the reason she was in the situation she's at. Your problems are the reason. Sorry. Your problems are the reason why you missed it. That is the initial issue of the whole entire story, is that you were so busy freaking cleaning that you missed the birth of Christ. What is wrong with you? If Christ, once again, we're not religious. Important. If it was that freaking important, why just clean all night?
Well, I mean, she didn't know that that's what was going on.
I know, but, still.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Alright, so now we're going to step away from that.
Okay.
We're going to talk about number 9, which is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me a little bit about this
I told you a little bit about it.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know where Rudolph came from. Obviously, it's a children's story that somebody came up with, but so Rudolph was created by a man named Robert Louis May in 1939. He is the 9th reindeer to Santa's sleigh, the youngest, and was picked on as a young foal because of his nose, which is red, just in case for some reason no one knows who Rudolph
if you've
is.
never heard the song.
Yeah.
Or seen the movies.
Or didn't understand the title.
Yeah.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Robert made Rudolph as an assignment for a Chicago-based company called Montgomery Ward. It's a retail store that had been buying and giving away coloring books for Christmas every year and decided to create their own to save money. Robert almost decided to name him Rollo or Reginald before landing on Rudolph. Robert, the creator, said that he used to be bullied the same way that Rudolph did as a child, so he wanted to give it like a good ending, like kind of like teach kids not to bully, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
His daughter loved this story too. In its first year of publication, 2.4 million copies were distributed.
Wow.
Robert said that the idea came to him while he was staring out of his office window and a thick fog from Lake Michigan covered it. Suddenly I had it, he called. A nose, a bright red nose to shine through the fog like a spotlight. But of course, there was controversy. The cultural significance of a red nose had changed a lot since the story's publication. In the 1930s pop culture, a bright red nose was closely associated with chronic alcoholism and drunkards. So much so that the story was initially rejected.
Wow.
Robert asked an illustrator friend to draw a cute reindeer using zoo deer as models, and that's what actually convinced the management to support the idea. And it's like, it's kind of a good thing he did, because Rudolph is still like famous to this day.
Famous. And how long ago did he create this story?
1930s.
Like, so that's when he created it, was then, and it sold that many copies. And bullying is still a major thing now. Hasn't changed.
Yeah, but there's been like all kinds of bullying things, and it hasn't stopped it. This isn't just like the first, the only one. The story of Rudolph's creation is partially sad because I had read in an article that Robert's wife had died around this time, and that he was struggling to make ends meet for him and his daughter. I'm not entirely sure how true that is, but Rudolph was kind of like the saving grace for him. So if that's true, then that's awesome. But
Rudolph literally saved his life.
Yeah.
Almost like that pickle really saved that dude's life that one day.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about gingerbread and the men and their houses.
Yeah, which I had already told you about, and it turns out that I was right.
Partially right.
Yeah. Hansel and Gretel.
Yep. So gingerbread was said to originate in medieval England, and the name actually just means preserved ginger. Back then, people used ginger more for its healing properties than anything else. Ginger can calm an upset stomach quickly, which is why a lot of people reach for ginger ale when they're sick.
Well, like even ginger, just in general now, is like a massive thing that you like. I think ginger is like one thing that India uses, like their medical. India, their whole entire medical premise used to be completely based on, not completely, but mostly based on ginger because of how healthy ginger actually is for your body. Like ginger is like one of those super things that you would eat along with like goji berries.
Basically.
Yeah, it's like superfoods that you would eat with like goji berries, wheatgrass, stuff like that. Or what's that stuff that
turmeric?
No, well, besides turmeric, that's another one. But the grass, what is that? Is that wheatgrass? Is that what that is?
I think so.
Like you would juice it.
Yeah.
So like those are like, it's literally part of that. So honestly, I've done it before. If you do have like a severely upset stomach, or if you want to make some ginger tea, and your upset stomach will completely go away. Which is weird. And another weird thing with ginger too is it's supposed to help with acid reflux, which everyone knows that I have. And it's weird that such a quote unquote spicy root actually gets rid of acid reflux. It doesn't work well in my brain, but it works in science, I guess. Anyway, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Back in the olden days, gingerbread was considered sacred and was only meant to be made on Christmas and Easter. And that's exactly why it's seen as such like a Christmas delicacy. So why do we have gingerbread men? It is actually believed that Elizabeth I of England was the first one to start this tradition. She had her gingerbread cookies shaped to resemble some of the guests that she was having at a party. So they got to eat them, eat themselves basically. There's also a little story about how women would bake like little men and eat them to increase their chances of getting a man, which because I guess it's so so sacred.
She's a man-eater.
Supposedly, the tradition of decorating gingerbread houses actually maybe came from the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
The 1812 Grimm's fairy tale includes the line, when they came nearer, they saw that the house was built of bread, roofed with cakes, and the window of transparent sugar. Inspired by the story, German bakers began to craft small decorated houses out of spiced honey biscuits.
Nice.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
So it technically did come from Hansel and Gretel. Number 11 is Christmas wreaths. So it was kind of hard to find information about the Christmas wreath, but it's more of like the circle symbol and like what it's made of.
Yeah.
Without the Christmas tree, we wouldn't have the Christmas wreath. Trees would have to be shaped down to fit a perfect triangle, and also to fit in like people's houses. So they would prune the trees to make them fit inside better, as well as the right shape. And instead of throwing away all the extra pieces, the Europeans would weave the excess pieces into wreaths. The Christmas wreath was actually started as hanging circles on the tree, because the circle shape symbolizes eternity, as a shape with no end. Which is probably like the whole like Jesus resurrected and stuff too.
The circle of life.
Yeah. The wreath was made from evergreen tree pieces, and the evergreen tree itself was a kind of a tree looked upon with awe and admiration, since they are able to survive the harshness of winter. So that's where like the eternal life comes in, because while everything dies during winter, those trees stay like,
interesting.
You know,
yeah,
they stay green.
Yeah, they stay wet. They stay. I was gonna say they stay weathered, but that would mean that they are decaying.
Yeah. So with the circular shape and the evergreen material, make the wreath a representation of eternal life.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
So
I thought somebody just got bored one day. They were like, "Hey, I bet you I can make a circle out of this." And when they were like, "Hey, that's awesome! Let me hang it on my door."
Yeah. That would be funny if that's just like how it began.
Some dude was bored and he made a circle.
But I mean, back then a lot of the things was like leave no waste.
Yeah.
Like nothing gets wasted. Mm-hmm. We always like making butter had like different steps after that for the
Yeah.
So that's basically why the wreath came about, is because they didn't want to just leave the pieces. So, and now number 12 is the snowman. So I know that's not fully like a Christmas tradition, but it's a wintertime tradition. What are you laughing at?
Well, because I remembered my theory about Frosty.
You can do that on your own time.
I'm just going to do a quick one. So my theory is that Frosty the Snowman is a lizard person. Why? Because he's cold-blooded. It's the only thing that explains it, and he's mechanically controlled by a little lizard alien in his hat, and that's what made it magical. There's a lot more to it than that, but let's get on with the actual legend, quote-unquote, that isn't lizard people, which is boring.
So it's not really a legend.
Yeah.
But snowmen have been around forever. In fact, it is extremely hard to figure out where it actually originated. So maybe lizards, but...
Lizard people. Aliens created. That's why it's so hard to figure out.
I would say maybe they deleted the documents.
Yeah, they did. They didn't delete the documents. They wiped everyone's memories.
Excuse me. One man named Bob Eckertson, an award-winning illustrator, writer, and cartoonist, did some research for his book called The History of the Snowman. He explored all the information around the world and discovered a lot of like awesome stuff about the snowman. So I figured I would want to leave like the link down in the YouTube description for it, in case anybody wanted to go and actually read like the full story of the snowman.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
It's not my full story, so it's gonna be boring.
One of the first known depictions of a snowman comes from the 14th century Book of Hours, which is an illustrated book used for Christian prayer. Now the snowman was actually being burned alive, and he was like it's
snow.
Well, yeah, but it was melting.
Oh, well, okay.
But he was actually dressed as a Jewish person, so they were being like extremely racist on that, and. I guess the guy had said that a lot of times back then that books like that were racist. So sadly, but back in the medieval times, snow and sand were cheap, if not obviously free. And it was easy to use and fun to play with. It wasn't just kids that were playing with the snow. In fact, in 1494, Michelangelo was commissioned to sculpt a snowman for the ruler of Florence. So,
Wow.
like the famous painter and sculptor was asked to make a snowman and got paid to do it.
Wow.
What the heck?
You know how many snowmen I've made over my lifetime? You know how much money I could have made?
There was once a period in time called the Winter of Death in Brussels. They suffered 6 full weeks of freezing temperatures, like no let up. The citizens took to the streets and decorated the city full of snowmen. Some people even made them political and showcased their anger towards the church and state. And there was even like a little snippet where some of them made them like pornographic.
Wow.
So, you know, people are
That's
people.
Funny. Yeah, I mean they still do that to this day. So I mean,
yeah, definitely.
They do it with pumpkins now too.
Yeah. In the 19th century, people in Switzerland have celebrated the coming of spring by blowing up a snowman. So it's a big
cool.
It's a huge wood. I don't know if it's wooden. I'm assuming because burning material, but it's like a huge snowman. Not actual snow that they just blow up.
Okay.
The holiday usually occurs on the third Monday of April, so not really a Christmas thing, but still pretty cool to me. We don't get for us here, we don't get a whole lot of snow here in Jersey.
I mean, we used to.
But
back
we haven't lately.
Yeah, in the early 2000s and 1980, pretty much from, I want to say, the 1960s all the way up to the early 2000s, we got a lot of snow almost every year.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, back in the 1990s, snow got almost 4 foot tall. There was a lot of snow.
I don't remember.
And now, because the only reason I remember is because my mom told me when she took me on the sleigh, I fell off the sleigh and I fell in the snow and she couldn't find me because I was just I was just seeing where my hands going like this in the snow. So, but yeah, we used to get a lot of really heavy snowstorms, and now lately it's starting to look like California. There's barely any snow. It's just rain.
I was really hoping for snow this year.
Yeah, yesterday, Christmas Eve, no snow. It was warm outside. Today, no snow, and it's warm outside, and we're in friggin' Jersey.
Yeah, it's like 50-something degrees out.
Yeah,
it's
and
warm.
it's nighttime. So
yeah, so I just send me, if you guys build snowmen, can you send me pictures?
I don't know how they would do that.
You can do it on Twitch or not Twitch, TikTok. You can post me in.
Oh yeah.
I think YouTube you might be able to put picture comments.
I've never actually tried. So
I don't know, but I wanted to see snow. All right.
You gotta get that fake plastic snow.
Yeah. I just miss it. It's not here.
Yeah. There will be snow later on, but for the past 3 years, there hasn't been any snow in December.
It's mostly January through April.
Yeah, and even then, it's maybe 2 inches, not even.
Yeah. It always has to happen when I'm at work too.
Yeah.
Alright, so number 13, the last little tradition, legend, whatever you want to call it, that we're going to talk about is eggnog.
Eggnog.
Which, we both like eggnog, just not a lot of it.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of eggnog, but I'll take a few sips.
I like it. I'm good. But I can't drink a lot of it at once.
There's an old saying that if you can drink eggnog, you can swallow. Anyway. Sorry.
Anyway, so while culinary historians debate on its exact lineage, where it came from or when it came about, most agree eggnog probably came from the early medieval Britain posset, which is a hot milky ale-like drink. In the 13th century, monks were known to drink a posset with eggs and figs. Milk, eggs, and sherry were foods of the wealthy, so eggnog was often used in toasts to prosperity and good health. Eggnog became a holiday drink when it came to the Americans and Americas. Gosh, couldn't say that. In the 1700s, the colonies were full of chickens and cows and cheaper rum, which is now what eggnog is mostly spiked with. The name, however, is still somewhat of a mystery. Some say nog comes from noggin, meaning a wooden cup, or grog, which is a strong beer. By the 18th century, the term eggnog stuck. So that's basically the start of eggnog. is basically, which is weird to me that people decide to mix milk and eggs and rum.
Well, I mean, they do it in where I forget what GMM episode, but they put eggs in coffee.
Oh yeah,
So.
but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the 13 traditions that I picked. There are obviously like a crap ton more, but yeah, I just wanted to do 12, but like I said, 13 is a better number. So, yeah. So after this, oh yeah,
There's a red 13 in there.
Yeah. So after this episode airs, next week we're gonna go back to our regularly scheduled spooky stories, or at least locations and legends. But I just wanted to do this quick, fun little holiday themed episode. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Do you have anything else to say?
No, not really.
Just asking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so make sure to follow us on Twitch. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube. I'm on TikTok. Send us a Gmail at thehauntedcafe@gmail.com. And I think that's it.
Yeah, and to the advert earlier, don't forget to check out
Ram's
Head VR Gaming. I almost forgot.
You know, the VR thing.
The VR thing on YouTube.
Yep. And thank you guys so much for listening and watching.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Catch you guys later.